One of the best handheld slash consoles of all time is none other than Nintendo's 3DS. And we here at the Majora T-Cast are here to look at what are some of the best-selling and most undersold games for that console. And I brought none other than Spencer from RPG Archive. What's up, Spencer? Nice to have you here today talking about 3DS with me.
One of my favorite consoles for sure.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Is that a fact? Well, I picked the right person. Can we just start with a little bit about your history with the 3DS? What does it mean, really, to you?
Oh, boy. The 3DS is my first console back from a long hiatus away from gaming. I've told this story probably like 50 times now, but basically the Xbox 360 killed my love of gaming. It just, I realized gaming was going in a direction I didn't like. So I pretty much stopped entirely and played PC for a while, and it was mostly League of Legends. There'd be little games here and there, but it was almost entirely that. And then I saw that a new Pokemon was coming out, which I hadn't played one in years. And it was like 3D. It wasn't, but it was like, it was first marketed that way. And then you'd see screenshots. I was like, oh my God, that looks insane. And it was like, it's coming to the 3DS. I said, okay, interesting. And I think I'll get a 3DS when that comes out and just try to play Pokemon. And there's a X and Y, if I haven't said that yet. And then I reasoned with myself and I said, well, if I'm going to get it and I'm waiting for X and Y to come out, I might as well just get it now and try out some of the games that are on it and try to experience what 3DS games are. And then I talked myself into it, and I did get a 3DS, and then I got Fire Emblem Awakening with it. And I had a great time. It's not my favorite Fire Emblem, but it was decent. And after that, I played A Link Between Worlds and beat that in like 3 days. And then I started amassing a collection. And by the time Pokemon X and Y came out, I actually didn't really like Pokemon X and Y that much, which is ironic. But I know I appreciated it, whatever. And then found like a million RPGs to play that I just completely fell in love with. So that's my relationship with 3DS. It's a very important console to me.
Excellent. Yeah, that Pokemon X and Y marketing must have worked, because that's what got me into getting a 3DS in the first place, too. But there were so many other games that made it so much more meaningful to me. That first year with Animal Crossing, it was an automatic download day one for me. I just knew, like, not when it came out, but when I got my console, I knew that I would spend a lot of time, and I sure did. It also became my DS, my way to play a lot of DS games I missed out on, namely the Dragon Quest games. I remember playing Dragon Quest IV, Dragon Quest V, pushing for Dragon Quest VII, and then we finally got it, and I was so overjoyed. I put a lot of time into Dragon Quest VIII, although I never did finish it. And maybe even I can attribute my jumping back into turn-based RPGs with the 3DS. So I have a lot of nostalgia for it in that way. You know, and I also remember some of the fun online, the Mario Kart 7, the Pokemon X and Y battles. Not as much, you know, they were good, but just not to me as important.
Mm-hmm. That's funny you say it got you back into turn-based RPGs. The problem with me is I never left turn-based RPGs. I was obsessed with them. And then by the time the 360 came out and the games that were coming out there, they were dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the big things for me is like, okay, they're not going to make turn-based RPGs anymore. Like, what am I even doing? Why do I have an Xbox 360 to play? I think what really killed it for me was Fallout. Because they were like, Fallout 3 is coming out. And I was like, fuck yeah. We're going to get like an updated version of like a really great RPG from the yesteryear. And it's like, and it's a first-person shooter. I'm like, oh, no. It's like a dagger through my heart. And I was just... And it was a fine game. It's not... There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like... That's just how gaming was going. And it... 3DS, when it came out, I looked at all the cool like turn-based RPGs I had. I was like, this is where they've been hiding. This is fantastic. And so yeah, like it's funny that turn-based RPGs, we have a different story for the 3DS, but they're kind of the same in a way, of just like the return to turn-based RPGs.
Yours was the problem with being an RPG fan. Mine was just the opportunity of getting to be an RPG fan.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I figure a good way we can do this is maybe go tit for tat, number for number. We'll go the 10th best-selling, followed by the 10th most undersold game. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Cool.
So go from best-selling to undersold?
Yes.
And then back and forth?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. So, from Wikipedia's uncomprehensive list, this is a dynamic list, quote, and may never be able to satisfy particular standards for completeness. You can help by adding missing items with reliable sources. Only you can update the Wikipedia page for best-selling 3DS games. Number 10, Yokai Watch 2. Selling at 7.3 million copies. What is Yokai Watch 2? Bony Spirits.
Marketing monster.
Did this even come out in the West?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played Yokai Watch, the first one, and it has promise, but it's very shallow as an RPG. And it's meant for kids. So, you take it for what you will. I'm sure the second one is similar in combat. Hopefully it expands. I don't really know much about 2. But the first one, if I'm judging it by that, really fun, colorful characters, great graphics. Level 5 nailed it. Just a little shallow.
Yeah, the issue is that it will forever be compared to Pokemon in terms of gameplay mechanics. And Pokemon, for as much as you can criticize, some of the complexities, has a solid framework. Yokai Watch is a little shaky, but that's not the point. The point of Yokai Watch is like a cute kids, game, and it's a TV show first. Mm-hmm. Maybe not first, but when I think of Yokai Watch, I think of like the cartoon show. Its premise is like, these people who die and become yokai spirits in these cute, like looking forms. And that's supposed to be the fun. And the gameplay system is like a wheel, and it's like based on what you pick on the wheel. I barely remember it. I did play through the first game, and I thought it was fine, but I was hard pressed to go back to it. It was like one of those weird like 3DS gimmicks, and I don't love it for that. But I mean, I think it's probably, and I don't have the exact numbers up here, I imagine that this is a better selling in Japan game than it is in North America.
Well, it's proof of marketing, right? This is a game that clearly it's like all the buildup of a toy, and like because I've even seen in Target like a Yokai Watch section. I'm sure it's gone now, but there was like it's all this like branding and marketing, and just the power to propel a game like this to the top 10 3DS charts, because there's not a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot going on, but the marketing worked so well that they got it to like. 7.3 million looks like. It's pretty impressive.
Well, this is also worth mentioning. This game was split into like 2 or 3 versions: Bony Spirits, Fleshy Souls, and Psychic Specters.
They did that with all of them. And again, it's just the Pokemon concept. They just took it and went their direction with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, enough about...
I think I have 3.
Do you?
Oh, but I'm not clear. There's supposed to be games on that shelf. I haven't put them there yet. I think I actually have 3. I think I bought it on like a clearance thing for like $7.
Okay.
So it's unopened. Maybe it's worth something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Worth a playthrough. You know what else is worth a playthrough? Well, you know what is worth a playthrough for sure is Dragon Quest VIII on the 3DS. This game sold worldwide approximately 1.15 million copies, according to VG charts. So that could get updated onto the Wikipedia list. But Spencer and I determined that we still think that's undersold. Spencer, can you tell us why that why you think that Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King on 3DS is undersold?
it's one of the best RPGs of all time, quite frankly. Dragon Quest 8, I rank even higher than Dragon Quest 11, and I really liked 11. But under scrutiny, because I guess once it gets to the top of your list, you got to start picking things apart. It's 45 hours of RPG bliss. Um, it's so well paced; it never drags. It's just a fantastic game. Best game on the PS2, probably. Metal Gear Solid 3 is up there, but we're talking about RPGs. It's the best one. Um, its graphics are beautiful and timeless. Ironically, I guess in the 3DS it could arguably look worse, but it still looks great on the 3DS. It added 2 new characters to it that you could play. They're not new characters, but playable characters. Yes. It only adds to one of the best RPGs I've ever played. It's the definitive version of it, and it's all portable. It couldn't be. You couldn't ask for more from a game, and I think seeing other RPGs on this list, I'm like, oh, Dragon Quest is better than any of these games. But it's a shame that at the time it's not even on this over a million list on Wikipedia. It is technically, but not on this list, and it's crazy that it isn't. It's so good.
And for reference, I did look at the PS2 version. It has about 5 million sales. So
Do you know why?
The Final Fantasy demo packing.
Criminal.
That's proof of concept right there. Your marketing.
It's so much better than Final Fantasy 12 too. It's so criminal.
Yeah, I bought this one day one, and I'm surprised that I didn't finish it. I was 30 hours in, so just knowing that makes me kind of be like, I should have just done it. I should have just sucked it up. But it's never too late to appreciate some Dragon Quest VIII. I remember the photography mode. It was like a cool added element. Comparing this to Dragon Quest VII on 3DS, it's just so much better. The freaking voice acting, the characters, the character party. Dragon Quest Poppy talks about Seven's weak party. Here you go, Eight's got a pretty fantastic party. It has the on-screen enemy encounters, so that is technically, it depends how you view it. Most people don't like random encounters. That is an improvement to the PS2 version. Playing it portably, I don't hook up my PS2 ever. I'm sure people who play on the, emulate and stuff, whatever, you can figure that out. But, as far as official ways to play 8, debatably the best. And yeah, I really like it. I can't wait to go back and play it again. And 1 million for this game, I think I would have liked to see it hit at least 3, let's say.
Oh yeah. Always pushing for Dragon Quest to sell well, to incentivize them to do more. I think 11 hit their metrics. I can see that. So excited for that. I wish it did it back here though, because we probably could have gotten more of the Monsters releases at the time and stuff. But
oh yeah, and I don't have the numbers up, but I think when I was looking, it was 880,000 of those copies were sold in Japan. So this was not that North American breakthrough that we wanted or needed. That we needed.
It's such a shame too. It's so good. It's like a perfect RPG, and it's such a shame that it didn't seem to break through.
What would be okay? So the other thing too is I think it was a 2016 release. That was the second to last year, maybe third to last year of 3DS games even coming out. So I don't know. What do you think is a reasonable metric for this version of the game, as far as sales go?
Like what?
What would be your number? Like I said, 3 million for me.
Well, we didn't really talk about it, but on this list is Dragon Quest VII. I'm not going to look at 11 because that's Japanese only, but 7 sold 1.6 million. It says Fragments of the Forgotten Past. I don't know how much that is American, or at least not Japanese, but it's on this list. I would think it would sell more than 7. even though 7 was way more due for a remake and was a little bit older. But 8, I think, is just has a warmer place in people's hearts, and I felt like people were more excited about 8. But I ironically, I don't see it on this list, even, and I see 7 almost the 40th position, which is kind of crazy. So I would think that's the 1.6. I would think it would sell 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Would be reasonable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe if it came out sooner and was more readily available, maybe if they marketed it with, I don't know, like the Pokemon demo or something, you know?
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I didn't even think about this, but I wonder what, just because knowing that Dragon Quest 8 didn't sell well, right? I wonder what it would have been like on the Wii U. Obviously, if we take the sales out, because it didn't sell amazingly anyway, I'd be curious what it would look like on the Wii U. Like really cool graphics and shit. That'd be fucking badass.
Be a good excuse to boot up the Wii U, if anything.
Yeah. And then they could more easily move it over to like modern consoles, like just re-release it on the Switch, like they did with all the other ones.
I don't even think there's anything truly preventing the 3DS version from getting, remastered for the modern consoles, because there's nothing really touchscreen exclusive.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while. I'm sure they added some little cutesy mini game or something they could just cut. But yeah, I would be down. The game's great. The game's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest 8. It's so good. I cannot wait till we do that.
Well, halfway there. All right, so can you take us through number 9s?
All right, number 9. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. 9.15 million.
Holy smokes.
These games are crap.
I never played even regular Sun.
I bought these I bought Ultra Moon, I think, on a day after Thanksgiving sale, Black Friday, I think for $15.
Mm-hmm.
Booted up, hour in, put it down. Too many tutorials, too much talking. Pokemon is not about talking. It's about raising Pokemon and making them fight each other. I don't need somebody to tell me where the next town is. It's literally one road. I don't need somebody to stop me once I get to that town and tell me where I can buy the Pokeballs. It's one of 5 buildings in the town. Like the amount of babying that this series has evolved into is so disgusting. It's not a game, right? Like at a certain point, let people find it. I don't know where Nintendo got so obsessed with holding people's hands, but it needs to stop. I can't play Twilight Princess. You guys were talking about Twilight Princess, and I think you said like something about tutorials. It literally prevents me from going back to playing that game. Is the first hour of it is completely tutorialized. It's the same with this stupid Pokemon game. Is people waiting in the bushes being like, careful, those bushes have I'm like, I'm 30 something. I'm 35 years old. I played Pokemon Red. I do not need you to tell me that.
Wow. Okay, Spencer goes in. Ultra Edition. To my understanding, this one had it dropped gym leaders or something.
I think so. I think it's like regions, and now it's just challenges or something.
Some of that was weird to me. I don't defend the tutorials. The bigger issue to me was this is just a cash in on ideas I'm just thinking of the boardroom meeting. What if we put Pokemon in Hawaii and Meowth looked, a little different or something. We had different versions of each game. And so he's like, yeah, Hawaii. And as somebody who's lived in Hawaii, I thought that was disgusting. I was just like, this is not this is not representative at all of my environment. I feel that way about like when video games do things with like elements of my life. I'm just like, stop. That Fire Emblem teacher game, no, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with that. This Pokemon Hawaii game, I'm like, what are you guys going to butcher this time? So I had a personal vendetta against Sun and Moon when it came out. When Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, I just imagined it would be just as bad. So I personally didn't play it. But does that mean other people can't enjoy it? No, if you enjoy it, that's fine. I mean, like, it's just a personal thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, I don't know what's wrong with you.
You must like holding your mommy's hand down the street.
Yeah. Well, and there's several Pokemon games on this list. One of them is actually duplicated up there, but they need to make Pokemon have two modes. Baby mode, or I guess the default mode now, and then like 30-year-old guy that's playing this game mode, where they strip out the crap and just make, like, I don't want to hear the story of how the hula hoop god or whatever stole this or that. I don't care. I just want to battle my Pokemon and raise them to kill each other. Mm-hmm. I don't want any of the other crap in it. So please, Nintendo, there is a market. You have older fans that do not like the shit that you put in it. You just want the Pokemon. That's it.
You heard it here first, folks. Bloodthirsty Pokemon ready to sick each other in the neck.
Fuck yeah.
Ultra Violent
That's
edition.
all I want.
You've heard of Pokemon Violet. Well, here's Pokemon Violent.
Violence one.
Yeah. Blood red.
Contrast that. Yeah. Contrast that. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam is on this list at 1.08 million. Criminal. This game is fantastic. It combines the Mario and Luigi series, which is, Terry, the best Mario RPG series in existence.
Which one?
It's better than Super Nintendo's Mario RPG.
Okay.
It's better than Paper Mario.
Oh, snap. Paper Jam?
Okay. No, well, I'm just saying the Mario and Luigi series.
Oh, Mario and Luigi series is better than the Paper Mario series. Oh!
Than the Paper Mario series. And the Super Nintendo game. I grew up with the Super Nintendo game. It's not a thing about, like, what do you nostalgia.
Yeah.
I grew up with the Super Nintendo one. If I'm supposed to like anything, it's the Super Nintendo one. Mario and Luigi, as a series, is better than that game. It takes some of the things that game does and makes it 10 times better. It's got a better art style. It's got better combat. It's got a better sense of humor. It's literally a better game. Okay, so you take that series and then combine it with Paper Mario. Paper Mario is in the game.
It's fusion.
And then you fuse bosses that are like origami. Like they fold and shit.
Wow.
Like it is a really creative, really great game. It's got awesome mechanics. It's got a 3-person team that all their moves combined together, and they have button presses. They do the whole thing. It is phenomenal. It should have sold way more than it did. It's criminal that this basically seems to have killed the series.
Wow.
I guess Paper Mario, ironically, is still going on against everybody's wishes, but it's still going on. But this Alpha Dream team consistently nails it. I guess some of these, they've been hit misses. I haven't played the Bowser one. I'm sorry. But I played the other ones, and they're all pretty decent. But the Paper Jam is phenomenal.
Cool. I have played the Bowser's Inside Story. It's nothing special. It's fine. Paper Mario is so beloved. A lot of people, fangirl out hard for those classic Paper Marios. Terry included, but a large swath of like the online gaming population. So to hear that it came back in like a standard traditional turn-based fashion, which is what everybody wants from that series, should be enough. But I guess people are so, adamant, I need like the just the standalone Paper Mario game. Well, Mario and Luigi is really solid too. You know, Superstar Saga was my jam. It was incredible. It was a terrific game. It was combined dark with comedy at the same time. You know, partnering up with Bowser at a couple points. At some points, the Bean villain embarrasses Bowser. He makes him look puny. Yeah. You know, it's really good. And so, yeah, I'd be interested to play Paper Jam. So, hey, undersold, but not unnoticed. And it's a three-person party? Mario, Luigi, and Paper Mario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's incredible. It was... I was so surprised that everyone had such... I guess I understood why people had like a negative connotation of it, because the Paper Mario series at the time had fallen so far from its pedestal. Mm-hmm. Because by then, we got... the Wii, I don't know if at the time the Wii U one was out, but certainly Sticker Star was out, and people despised that game. Mm-hmm. Well, let me assure you, this is what Sticker Star is, should have been. It is a full-fledged RPG with him in it. So I just don't. It's like they gave you what you wanted, you didn't buy it. So that's why you get Paper Mario today. It's because they gave you what you wanted, you did not buy it. They will give you Origami King or whatever the newest one is.
There you go. That explains it.
Reap what you sow, boys.
Yeah, show up. It's half the battle. Yep. Well, speaking of showing up, a lot of people showed up for number 8. A whole community. It's Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. Yep. Coming in at 9.64 million units sold. Combined work. Oh, that doesn't really apply. But yeah, it's Nintendo's beloved Super Smash Bros. Series. Wow, this was a game. Did you buy this one on 3DS?
Sure did.
Me too. Did you buy it on Wii U?
Sure did.
I didn't.
One word review for the Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Oops.
What is that, my thumbstick?
Yep, that's the sound of your thumbstick falling off.
Yeah. Did you break a thumbstick on a 3DS?
No, but I heard everyone else did, so I stopped playing it.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, I'll just keep it, and that's cool, but I'll just play it on the Wii U. It's much better there anyway. So, like, let's just be happy that I had it, and then we'll move on.
my thumbstick looked like a dog bit a chunk out of it. It was bad. But it was so much fun. It was my only way to play the game. Honestly, with the whatever Switch one having came out, I remember almost nothing about this.
Oh, it's forgettable.
Yeah.
It's like a demo.
There's really like only, I'd say 3 Smash games in my mind. I guess 4 if you count that Wii one, but it's 64, Melee, and Ultimate.
Yes, those are the 3.
Brawl is fine. Story mode is fine.
Brawl has the thing where your characters can trip, right?
Yeah, slipping mechanics.
Okay, you're out. Brawl's out. Wii U was the best if you want just the full featured game, but Ultimate beat it in every way. So it basically just deleted that game. Melee is good for people that hate themselves and want to cheat to play a game and call that how the game was intended to be played. That's the only reason Melee still exists, is people wave dashing like little monsters. And to me, the best one is the N64 version. It's completely separate from the rest of the series. And so it's like, I like to play that one or Ultimate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Melee, I also genuinely like the adventure mode, and maybe I hate myself a little bit, just going and collecting trophies and capsules and stuff. But
it was fun.
It is, yeah. The history element is cool too. They give you little like insights into these, and at that time, it was a lot of shit you didn't know about. We weren't out here on Wikipedia looking up like Fire Emblem, who's Marth, It was just like a big thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing about, and I'm rating it not on the single player shit, because the single player shit is its own beast, and all the games offer something for you. But from a competitive standpoint, to me, the 64 version is very pure, and then Melee is wave dashing people, and then Ultimate is true competition at its finest. As far as the single player shit, actually probably Brawl has the best one, if I can recall it. I didn't play much of it, but
Debatable.
it seemed pretty cool.
It's fine. And a lot of people like it. I just thought it was like, it's just an excuse to get to play a story that like combines all the characters. It almost feels like Final Fantasy-esque in that way.
Okay.
But it's fun.
Yeah, Melee was the shit when that game came out. Holy crap. There was no better fighter.
Kids bring their GameCubes
Melee.
to school to like go play freaking Melee. Well, back when I was in grade school anyway.
Yeah. Oh, it went down on Melee.
Yeah, they were very serious. You couldn't get them off the TV. They'd be cutting class, going to the cafeteria lounge. It was a big thing.
Melee was so good they just perfected Melee when they made the Ultimate.
Yeah.
Like and the ones after, they were just building off of Melee, not the N64 version. They're building off of Melee, and that's why I can still beat the shit out of Alex. When he challenges me to Ultimate, I played Ultimate for maybe 20 minutes. But I like it. But then when he brings Ultimate, I'm just playing Ness and Peach because that's who I played on Melee, and they play the exact same. And I can destroy him in that. And then he starts playing characters I don't know. It's a toss.
Well, you can also destroy me. I will add that in there. So I was the worst of all three of us. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we did have a 1v1 or maybe we didn't. But yeah.
I just remember Alex like challenging me, and I'm like okay, and I was like, okay, he's gonna tear me up. I haven't played this before, and then I just it's one of the, and I'm not really bragging because I'm very bad at a lot of games. Okay, he's beaten me at plenty. Just watch the Resident Evil thing we did on button mappers.
Yeah.
Right. We played Resident Evil some time thing. I thought it was only supposed to be for 3 minutes, and I took probably half of that time. But on Smash Bros, no joke, I tore his ass apart, and it's because I was playing Melee. That's all it is.
My coworker, he probably won't care that I share this story. He might be listening. What's up, bro? He said, because on the last day of work, I brought my Switch to work to play Smash Bros. Or not to play Smash Bros. I just wanted to play Super Mario 3D World with my coworkers. I thought that would be fun. But I had all my games. And he's like, dude, you got Smash? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to play? And I thought that I said, yeah, but I'm pretty good. And not like the best, but like, I'm pretty good. Like I know what I'm doing. He's like, yeah, no, I want to play. And he didn't stand a chance. Like, cause I know what Smash is, and I know the combos and everything. And so we were talking with coworkers at like, I invited him over, and he was like, dude, he, Teddy played me in Smash, but he didn't tell me how good he was. And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I did. And he's like, dude, he knows like all the combos and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I know the game. Like I've played
the combos of Smash.
Yeah, it's funny to me because if you think of like fighting games, like real fighting games have like the real combos. Smash is like, okay, yeah, you can like hover
Juggle.
side into the wall, or be up, be left, be right, whatever. But I think
technically doesn't like the Street Fighter character have a combo, like Ryu or something has, like you can do a Hadouken with
maybe.
One of the
is he DLC or does he just get included?
I thought they all just got included. I am so out of the loop on it. Because I only play Ness and Peach. I think they're included.
Oh, okay. You don't play the Dragon Quest hero?
Never. I've never played it. I don't even. You came over. I don't think my Smash Bros exists anymore. I'm pretty sure from some means it was sold or it's gone. So I need to go get it again, just to have fun with it. But no, I haven't even played the hero. I've never played any of that.
Interesting. Okay, well, I guess Smash Bros. Was well earned, although it's aged horribly. In contrast to that, number 8 on our list is looking like Shin Megami Tensei 4 with 600,000 copies sold. Look,
where can you learn more about that game? I think you can learn more about it somewhere.
Yeah, I think Atlas is a good source. Maybe Wikipedia. Oh wait, it's RPG Archive.
That's
Woohoo!
right. You and Alex from TurboZone did a whole thing on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, we did an
Check it
archive
out.
podcast on it, about 3 hours long, chock full of segments. Go check it out if you're more interested in the game. I don't have too much to say on it. It is one of my favorite turn-based RPGs ever. And I think it is. I hate to boil it down to Pokemon for adults, or dark theme Pokemon, because it is so much more than that. But it is, as far as from a gameplay perspective, it is very much that. With the exception of like when you fuse demons, they become new demons. They're not necessarily like the same monster. They're all rooted in mythology, and you're in this post-apocalyptic setting. You got a banger of a soundtrack, and then the post-apocalypse is happening only in Japan. Like
Yes. They're always very localized in these SMT games. It's like, man, Japan was rough for like a couple of weeks there.
Yeah.
It would not be a list of undersold 3DS games without an Atlas title in here, for sure. SMT 4 is probably the biggest one. It is. I played a little bit of it. I let you guys handle the archive of it, but it has a lot of things that I think 5 took and expanded upon. But I gotta say, SMT4, especially at the beginning, is hard. It's a very difficult game. It is not forgiving. I think as you expand your resources and learn the game and get demons with more HP, it probably gets a lot easier. But especially at the beginning, it is very hard. I suspect the difficulty. I never read the reviews on this when it came out or anything, but I suspect that might have scared people away.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because it's a very good game.
Well, this solves your Pokemon tutorial problem.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. But that's cool. Like I remember playing it and I just got wiped very early in the game, and I was like, "Oh shit. I guess I got to learn how to play the game better." And I did. And it helps you get further, and then you get to upgrade your equipment, however you want to call that. And then it expands your repertoire. It is phenomenal. It's an amazing game, and it's a shame that it didn't break 1 million.
That would have been nice to see. I think it's a deserving at least million seller. It might be the best in the series. It's debatable, but I think that, especially from a narrative framework, it's pretty sound. And there's clear contrast between right and wrong. The morality system is pretty well implemented here. So it has so many good things going for it. Maybe just a victim of its platform. I do hope they bring it back someday in some way, shape,
I mean, graphically too, it's no slouch. It looks really good for a 3DS game. Like, there are games on the 3DS that don't look nearly as good as this.
Mm-hmm.
Like on this list, it don't even look close to this game.
And it doesn't do a lot. Like, it's simple, but what it does well.
Mm-hmm.
From a visual standpoint, I mean.
Yeah.
Because, like, you'll get, like, still frame images, but they'll, like, zoom in really interestingly. It's a very artistic interpretation or creation.
Well, but, like, when you're exploring the world, like, out of combat, the world it's like in full 3D, which was pretty rare on the 3DS anyway, ironically. But it looked good. Like, the 3DS has a very low resolution. I think it's something like 300 or 200 by whatever. It's very low resolution. But the world, they managed to make the world look really good with particle effects in it too. So props to them. They made a really good game.
As far as the difficulty point, I remember unlocking casual difficulty by dying. So if you need casual mode, it is there. And then another cool thing, you could either use in-game currency or your play coins that you gathered by walking with your 3DS in power save mode to respawn. so you wouldn't truly game over. I mean, you don't truly game over anyway. You start from your last save point, but it was a nice thing if you got caught off guard. I did it once or twice.
Yeah.
Can you take us through number 7? I just want to switch my chair out because this one is making me slouch.
Okay.
Cool.
Number 7 is Super Mario 3D Land at 12, a huge jump from Super Smash Bros. At 12.87 million, released on November 3rd, 2011. And these numbers are as of March 31st, 2023. Damn, most of these are. A lot of these are. I did not play that. I don't really play platformers, but it makes sense. I mean, it's Mario and it's a Nintendo console, so should be on there. I don't know.
It was an early game too. I think it benefited from using the 3D engine because you would put on the 3D mode and a couple of the puzzles would, like, a cube would come into focus and then you would see the type of platforming you were supposed to do. I just felt it was so rare, and it is very much playable even without it. That thing was pretty well implemented. Granted, good looking game and a couple memorable levels. I remember, but my favorite ones are like the retro throwback ones. It was pretty expansive too. You know, these Mario World or Land games usually have like 8 worlds. I think this one had 16. It had an extra 8 afterwards, and then like a couple collectibles. And as far as like from a visual standpoint, it maybe looked like a GameCube game being played portably, which was pretty big for what was the year? 2013, 2012.
2011.
2011. Yeah. So for its time, it was a really impressive game. Pretty, standard fare though. I don't think too much about it when thinking about like the most standout Mario games. 3D World probably stood out more.
I wonder too if it's because it was released so early.
Yeah.
That you'd be like, it's also like the only platformer that's on at the time or something, or one of the few. And then I'm sure it had a lot of cool sales later on that people could just snag it for $20.
Well, 2011 was the 3DS launch year, I want to say.
Probably around there.
So
Yeah, I don't see any games.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's anything prior to that. I don't see anything. I'm sure there is, but maybe 2010. But yeah, it came out around then, so yeah, probably nothing else to buy anyway. And then if we switch over, I think if we're doing it as I think we're doing it, the next one would be Metroid: Samus Returns.
That it would.
It's a Metroid game. Come on. It's a good one too. They remake. This will be the sequel.
The remake of 2.
Or of 2. Okay.
I want to say. Yeah.
Obviously, grossly expanded upon. The remake. The 2 was very low and everything. This is like a full-fledged game, like AAA at this point. It added some really cool features to it. Some that aren't necessarily Metroid-ish, but I think Dread took some of it and ran with it. Just a great Metroid game that you can play on the go. Like, holy shit, that's awesome. There's not like a whole lot to say because it's Metroid, so everyone should know about it. But maybe just proof that Metroid is more of a hardcore gamer thing and not as mainstream as a lot of people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people are like, why haven't they done Metroid Prime yet? Like, that's the people that really like Metroid Prime, not realizing that Metroid itself is not as strong of a brand as Nintendo wants it to be. So right. I think that's probably proof.
I mean, to these guys' credit, Miss Mercury's Steam, these are the guys who did Metroid Dread. It's one of, like, almost, they did Metroid, Samus Returns, they did something in between, and then they did Metroid Dread. So, I think Nintendo even saw their potential. This is just over 500,000 sales in 2016, 2 years before the 3DS is officially kaput. it was really like, I think it's a deserving title to be on this list because it's so much of a unique title for its time. It's not just like, Metroid 2 again. Metroid 2 on the Game Boy is nothing phenomenal, but they made it pretty playable, all things considered. I remember 100%ing it, and I did have my issues with it. I did feel a little cookie cutter, which is not necessarily what I love about a Metroid title, but I wouldn't call that more than a nitpick. I still think it was a really solid project, all things considered. So I was very happy with it. I don't know what the Metroid Dread sales are. I'm trying to just see if it pops up on the wiki page here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have a one quote here. In the United States, Dread debuted at number 3 and sold 854,000 copies in its first month, making it the fastest selling Metroid.
3.04 million units worldwide as of December 2022.
Best selling Metroid game. Yeah.
But you know what, too? The Switch is freaking hot. And especially last year.
Mm-hmm.
Super hot. So that's probably contributing to it. And also there was a drought of games. I remember that from last year. That there was because I think the whole COVID thing really put a damper on releases. Because I remember 2021 and 2022 being pretty barren.
Yeah.
So now all the big games are coming out just now in 2023. We're finally getting Starfield and so just I'm sure that game slipped in at just the perfect time.
Sure. So. When you think about it too, with COVID restrictions of 2020 to 2021, team meetings are happening over what? Zoom? Yeah. So what kind of progress can you make on a video game over Zoom?
Yeah.
So, the fact, and I don't know how big Mercury's team is. I presume not that big because it doesn't seem like they work on that many games. So for them to really come out in 2022 and do it with Dread, that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that they made the progress they did. So if anything, Samus Returns, while it didn't, sell as much as maybe we'd like it to, was still a nice stepping stone.
Absolutely.
Thank you for number 7. Let's go to number 6. Animal Crossing New Leaf with 13.04 million copies. You played it?
Yep. Could there be a better game for the 3DS? I don't know. It seems perfectly tailored for it. Great game.
Yeah. I think it is a nice game to take portably because like you're saying, it's one of those simulation games where you kind of have to play pretty regularly. I played it for a full year, never played it again. I think it's well deserving to be on the list. And obviously the Switch one was the New Horizons. That was a phenomenon. The 3DS one was really good though too. So I don't know.
Some people think COVID was planned, and I'm like, okay, well, who's planning it? And they'll be like, I think it was the Chinese government. And then there's other people I think it's a hoax from America or whatever. If anybody planned COVID, it was Nintendo, because they caused COVID, and they're like, oh, you have to sit at home. How about you play this game that we're just going to release? Animal Crossing New Horizons or whatever it was called. It's you can live away from all this and go to Animal World. And it was it could not have released at a more perfect time.
It's
so Nintendo, I'm watching you.
Oh, China. Well, it's actually just turn your eyes a little eastward.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's your guy.
Yeah. I don't have much to say on it. I think it's a good game.
It's a good game.
Yeah. Let's go to another good game. Maybe great, depending on some standards. It is Mario Golf World Tour for 3DS.
We're not going to do Theater Rhythm?
Did I skip it? Let's go to Theater Rhythm on 3DS. 510,000 copies. Okay, a little spoiler alert for number 5. That broke the chronology. I thought I saw them all, but
it slipped in at the end.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, you get a little
your teaser.
2 for 1. The twofer. 2 special. They're close. They're only 20,000 apart. Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy, music. This was a game on 3DS where you could use the stylus to tap with alongside your favorite tracks from I think the first 12 Final Fantasy games. and it was in like a chibi style. I remember using this as a music player. You could close the 3DS and then listen to music through your headphones.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Couple games let you do that. There's another one in this list I'll talk about that does that. But yeah, even though I had never really played Final Fantasy games up to that point, I never finished one. I still like the gameplay in this game. You know, they came out with a Dragon Quest game, a Theatrhythm one
In
that we
Japan,
never
right?
got. Yeah. So maybe if this was a million seller, we could have got Theatrhythm Dragon Quest. It's too bad.
To be fair, though, I think Final Fantasy's music is better
Yeah, it
than
is.
Dragon Quest.
What would it even be for Dragon Quest? It would just be like the
It'd be
overture.
like 8 songs.
Yeah, over and over with different like instrumentation.
Yeah. Here is with a bagpipe. I don't have a lot to say on Theatrhythm because I play games on mute for the most part, especially portable games. Oh my god. Like that's a portable game is almost guaranteed to be on mute because I'm watching something while I'm playing it. 90 Day Fiance while you're playing Dragon Quest and grinding. Beautiful. Beautiful. Highly recommend. But really unique idea to take the you build a franchise over 30 years and then you're able to use those assets for different things. And I admire that they did it they're like, let's take all this music that's so beloved that people think is so great and let's make a game just around the music. That is using your brand to its full potential, and I respect that.
I always thought they should do something similar for Zelda.
They did. It's not similar to this, so let me correct that. But they did a game called. It's on the Switch.
Oh,
it's
Hyrule
a Zelda
Cadence of Hyrule or something.
Yes, that's based on the music, right? And you're timing your character based on the music.
It is a music centered game, but that's just such a different thing. It's not about like enjoying or recreating. I guess it is recreating the music through like step and attack fashion. So I tried that first version of it though, and it's way too difficult. So I don't know if that Zelda version has that same problem.
Gotcha.
But that's a good point. Maybe it's worth checking out. I should look into more information about it. Okay, that was 6. Take us to number 5.
New Super Mario Bros. 2? What the fuck is that?
6 golden, or not 6 golden coins. It's just golden coins.
Is that what it says? Just golden coins?
Yeah. New Super Mario Bros. 2, just golden coins.
Just the golden coins, baby.
Nothing but coins.
13.41 million. Holy shit. What?
It's yellow. So on this list, if it's yellow, it's there were pack-ins with certain versions of the console. Spencer froze at a face of enjoyment. Pure enjoyment.
It probably was packed in with the NES.
Our connection dropped. But it's
Okay,
back.
I'm back.
We're back. Okay, cool. I enjoyed that, though.
Yeah, I bet you this packed in with the 2DS.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about right.
I didn't know they released a second one. I remember the first one on the DS.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know they made a second one. Why would they do it? Super Mario 3D Land is just below it. It's a 3DS console. Why would you make a 2DS game? I guess to celebrate the 2DS. I don't know. That's crazy to me, though. That's weird.
Proof's in the pudding. People bought it. You know? And you know, it's one of the I did. It's one of the most unremarkable Mario games. Everybody says the same thing about, it just feels so uninspired. This is when people start going like, they're doing the same thing over and over again.
Didn't you guys talk about this game when you were talking to
Come on.
Games with T?
Yeah.
And you said that these new Super Mario games he liked them, but you were like, it's pretty forgettable. And I think I remember playing the first one, and it was like, it is a Mario game. Like that was my takeaway of it.
Yeah. I feel that way about Mario 3D Land, which some people say is like sacrilege. Like, it's a great game, but whatever.
And then underappreciated, we have another Mario game, Mario Golf World Tour at 490,000 sold. I'm not a big golf guy, but we have gone golfing.
That is true. Yeah. We golfed with a real life Mario character. I think it was Wario and his mistress, Birdo. This was a really good game. Yeah, yes, thank you to Wario and Birdo. Mm-hmm. They showed us the ropes and didn't harass us. This is a really good game. It's very well, it's not better than Toadstool Tour, but I think it's competent enough. And especially compared to that Switch one. The Switch one feels a little bit gimmicky, maybe. Bare bones. I don't know about bare bones, but I don't like what the Switch one does. And this one I just feels like straightforward golfing, bunch of characters, beautiful environments. Yeah, there's some like sketchy DLC, but whatever. It's a good game.
Okay. That's probably how I'd prefer to play it on a 3DS.
Yeah.
If I had my druthers.
Well, now you can. Speaking of druthers, it might be your favorite Pokemon. We're going to number 4. It's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Oh, we're going to nothing but Pokemon now.
This fucking list, man.
Maybe we should just get it out of the way. 4, 3, and 2.
Look, I don't love Ruby and Sapphire. I know you and Alex, that's more your jam. It is not my jam. It's
Paper Jam.
It's not my paper jam, man. I think it probably peaked around Gold and Silver, and I could see it going downhill at around here. And then this is the remake of those. So let's add more stuff from the newer games that nobody my age likes. What
are the big selling points here? It's like Mega Evolutions. Don't care.
Nope.
Ugly 3D polygon visuals. Bleh. Compressed.
Good.
You know, orchestrated, weirdly orchestrated versions of the soundtrack. Prefer the chiptune.
Play it on mute.
Yeah. And just handhold to hell and back. You get experience share for all freaking Pokemon. And, you know, just pacify the hell out of this experience. I think basically every freaking trainer or gym leader has like very few Pokemon, maybe like 1 or 2. So way too easy.
Let my Pokemon kill each other. That is what I want. That's all I have to say.
Battle to the death. Okay, we can go to number 4 of the actual good ones. The Undersold. Hatsune Miku Project Mirai. Have you ever played a Miku game?
I didn't even know what that was until like a year ago.
How did you find out?
I was looking for like RPGs to play or something, and for some reason this kept coming up as she's like an idol character, isn't she?
Yeah.
Or some kind of like. I still don't fully understand it. I'm too old.
She's a Vocaloid. So it's not really somebody singing. It's artificially produced music, but it's actual music.
Okay. It's all synthesized.
Yeah, I imagine it's still somebody behind a keyboard, like, producing the song.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can blame Miku for VTuber culture. I don't know.
I don't even.
Or thank her. Depends on your framing.
Hatsune Miku is so far out of my wheelhouse. I couldn't even begin to talk about it with any kind of knowledge base. But I know it has fans, so I'm a little bit surprised it isn't in the million sellers.
Yeah, they usually are. They're usually pretty high sellers. I think the thing about this one, it was a chibi version, but it's still very playable. You get to enjoy the music of Hatsune Miku. And it uses the touch screen to really good effect. And like the Theatrhythm game, you can actually listen to a lot of the Miku soundtrack portably. So pretty cool.
Sure.
Okay, 3. Pokemon, Sun and Moon. Talked about it. 16.3 million. Moving on. That's it, right? I don't want
to let them kill each other.
Yeah, leave them out in the sun too long, they die.
Etrian Odyssey 5.
Etrian Odyssey 5.
You can find out more about this game on RPG Archive. We did a whole map out of, archive of it. My worlds collide. Um, I guess we could really just talk about the series in general. A very underappreciated Atlas gem. Um, Hardcore RPG enthusiasts only. Maybe that's why it sells poorly. Maybe just because it's an Atlas game. They just have to sell poorly. It's part of the requirements, unless you're named Persona. Fantastic series of games, long, difficult. I think people are turned off by the stylus map, but I find it to be pure bliss. I find that little more rewarding than mapping out an entire area, just so I know where everything is. Going to a new one and you got another blank canvas. I adore it, but I can understand why people might. I've told people that it's one of the best RPGs I can play, and they try it and they're like, I don't do maps, and it's like, all right.
It makes sense you mistook it or made the Freudian slip and called it a map out because you literally map out the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say, so we have the data for 5, which has 270,000 copies sold total worldwide. On the 3DS alone, they're all around this range, is like 200,000 to 300,000. On the 3DS alone, you can get Etrian Odyssey Nexus, which is the first game remastered, Etrian Odyssey 2, a remaster of the second game, Etrian Odyssey 4, which is a brand new game for 3DS, Etrian Odyssey 5, also a brand new game for 3DS, Etrian Odyssey Nexus, which is like the penultimate Etrian Odyssey game, and Etrian Odyssey Mystery Dungeon, or Etrian Mystery Dungeon. So I think, while it kind of sucks, they're all around like 200K sold total. I don't think they have to do a lot of work in, changing the assets around. So maybe that was like a banking strategy to help them get a lot of their money back. Is to just keep coming out with a new Etrian Odyssey game, which good because there's so much to enjoy there.
Here is how criminal it is, though. There were 2 games you didn't list, and you're right to not, because they're not. They weren't marketed that way. Persona Q and Persona Q2, both of them are phenomenal games. And they're marketed more as Persona games, which were huge. After Persona 4, people love that series. Persona 5, it blew up even more. Persona Q2 is about 5, 4, and 3, combining all of them. And even those couldn't sell well. I just checked; they're not on this list. Because people knew that they were the Etrian Odyssey style, so they're not on they're not even on. Those have auto mapping. If you want, you can turn that on where it's completely done automatically. So you don't even have to use
Etrian Odysseys do too.
Yeah, I think they realized that people didn't like it, but I think people still just think of it as that. Mm-hmm. And it's like all these games are so good. Right. Deep RPG mechanics, and yet just can't get out of the gate, man. I wonder how the remake sold. Be curious.
Yeah, something to think about. Do you have any interest in playing it?
3. Because 3 doesn't have an untold version.
That's true.
But otherwise, no. I don't want to. To me, it's meant to be played on the dual screens.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Etrian Odyssey. Well, let's go back to your favorite. It's Pokemon X and Y, perhaps maybe the real heinous offender here.
What a broken promise.
This is game number 2, 16.68 million copies.
I was told 3D Pokemon. That's what I was told. Technically, graphically, it is. But it is not 3D Pokemon. Mm-hmm. They only just did 3D Pokemon with arguably Arceus, or more realistically with Scarlet and Violet as the original Pokemon mechanics.
Okay.
Like, how did it take them this long? This fucking Game Freak company.
Terry will argue with you. The GameCube maybe had it first.
Well, that's Terry.
Okay. X and Y still sucks. I think we all agree on that. It's
Yes.
You know what? It was still a huge game. I think the online was what was perfected. I remember doing a lot of online battles and watching people on Twitch. A lot of Pokemon stuff I didn't care for. I don't even remember the story at all. It's so forgettable.
I just remember it had France.
Paris, yeah. There's the Leaning Tower, and that was the worst town. I remember it for being
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. It's like a big circle, right?
Yep. It is bad.
Terrible.
Well, let's go to something better than that that deserves our attention. You take this one.
Return to PopoloCrois. I mean, I can totally see why nobody bought it. It only had one. It's a sequel to a game that came out on the PSP, if I remember correctly, which completely died. It also combined the Harvest Moon, new Harvest Moon shit.
Story of Seasons.
Story of Seasons. So you could do farming, which I completely neglected to do when I played it. But as a pure RPG goes, it's really a true to form of just the basic mechanics of it being perfect. Its pacing was so quick. It was probably 20 to 25 hours long. It got in, got out. Great customization mechanics. It could get deeper if you wanted. It has New Game Plus. It's got so much going for it. I never see people talk about it, and I've probably mentioned it in these kinds of lists like 50 times, so you're tired of me talking about it. But it really is just like a solid game. And because it's so small, nobody ever talked about it. I wish it did well so we could get more of it. I like the idea of them combining Story of Seasons. I guess that would be, in a way, like Rune Factory or whatever, but it wasn't. Rune Factory is more of like a life sim, whereas this is more of just a straight up RPG that also had a farming mechanic in it. So I really like that, and I wish they would continue that. And so innocent. Like, you can make an RPG that isn't like Dragon Quest is great. Dragon Quest and then this game are like the only like innocent RPGs that exist now. Everything else is like, we got to add a bunch of sex to it, or we got to add. I'm going to talk about it later as my topic, where you just have to add stuff that's like so edgelordy, and it has to make you cringe in some way that it's like so dark. And it's nice to see a game that it doesn't try to do that. It's just like a nice little fairy tale.
I played it. I enjoyed it. I just remember you really liking it. And yeah, second lowest on the list as far as sales, around 200,000, 220,000. It's actually not bad for what it is, but yeah, no real standout seller. And I mean, nothing's happened with this series since, so people don't crave this kind of game, which is sad. Like you said, everyone wants like that like loud type of whatever it is, like video game, movie, channel to watch. And sometimes it's nice to just kind of enjoy the more chill stuff. And I think it's a chill game.
Do you know what they think we want?
Do I know what they think we want? Who's they? The gamers, the game companies?
Yeah.
The game companies think we want tits.
Yes.
Like child faces on women.
Yes. That's a little weird. A little creepy.
But they do it. And maybe like masochism or something, like against,
violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah.
They think we want Final Fantasy 16. That is not my topic for today, but fuck Square Enix if they think that's that is bullshit. That game is a big pile of horse shit. And it's like, I haven't played it. I have no interest in it. As soon as I learned that it wasn't an RPG anymore, it was just Devil May Cry, but they called it Final Fantasy. It's done. It might be fun. The gameplay might be fine. But it just represents everything that I hate that they think we want. Like it needs to be a Game of Thrones clone. Like it has to be like play like Game of Thrones. If Game of Thrones was a video game. Like
Hmm.
no. Fuck that. Like make a good game. Make a good fantasy game. The characters need to be edgy. They can't be turn-based anymore because people don't have patience for turn-based. I beg to differ. I strongly beg to differ. And I hope they see the sales of Baldur's Gate 3 and realize how fucking wrong they were. And really go back to the drawing board and realize the mistake they've made. Hopefully.
That's a topic. Yeah. I mean, when I think of like the nominees for like game of the year, I'm not thinking Final Fantasy. I don't even know. Yeah, I know a couple people played it and they're really into it, but I don't know. Nobody's
Final
bringing that up.
Fantasy sold okay, not nearly as well as they wanted it to, which is why you're seeing so many advertisements for Final Fantasy VII, the next episode,
I see.
because it did not do as well as they wanted it to, so they're moving on.
Dude, Final Fantasy 7 episodes still? Like what where are we at? What's happening?
It took too long. I think again, COVID bungled that.
That I
Where it
mean,
was supposed to be a little bit more sequential, and then it just completely fell off the map for forever.
even then, and that I think that's overblown, that first one. I'm sure it's a good episode.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
But
Well-
yeah, it is kind of a ripoff. That is not the whole game. I can see that for sure.
Well, let's talk about a full game. The best-selling game for the 3DS is Mario Kart 7 at 18.98 million. Is this even fair? It was included on so many 3DSs.
It's a good game.
Yeah. Nobody's
It's-
favorite
it's-
Mario Kart.
Yeah, nobody's favorite, but damn if you can't play an online Mario Kart game on the go. That's
Yeah.
pretty fucking cool, novelty wise. I think like the DS one was the first, or maybe you could play. I think you could play
On
Double
Wii.
Dash technically, like
Really?
if you land it.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong on that. I feel like I remember at least you could do it at LAN parties at the very least if I remember correctly. But I might be wrong.
That'd be
But
crazy
anyway,
too, because you could do 16. You could do like a round of 8 people, but one controller is half the cart.
that would be fucking nuts.
Dude.
Double Dash was a party, man.
Yeah. 7 was good. I just don't know how much it changed the game. So
No. And it shouldn't. At this point, why change Mario Kart? You know?
I was talking with the Legend of Leo about this, because there's nothing to do after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's everything, Or I was talking with Alex first, and then Legend of Leo was like, "Well, there's got to be something." And like, we've had 8 Mario Karts, and they've never had a story mode. So like, there is room.
There you go.
Yeah, there is room for something here.
That's an idea. But surely Mario Kart 8 proved Nintendo could do games with games of service. Games with service, whatever the phrase is.
Sure.
Games as a service. That's what Mario Kart 8 is. And it's made them, I'm sure. I haven't looked at the numbers, but holy shit, I'm sure that game has made. This and Smash Bros. Have probably made a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume if they are going to make another one, they should make a story mode like a Diddy Kong Racing kind of mode, where it's like an open world.
Yeah.
That would be badass.
Dude. They won't. I dare you, Nintendo.
You won't.
Just do it. Just try it. Like, see what happens. All right,
Sure.
Spencer, what is the number one most undersold game that we came up with on the 3DS?
I think it's a game neither of us have played. Is that fair to say?
Fair.
Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. It sold 0.06 million, so 60,000 units. That's according to VG charts. Whenever I hear about this game, it's people's like favorite like text-based game. or whatever, or a visual novel style game. It's always on the people's like top 10 lists of like portable game, like DS games or 3DS games or whatever. It's always up there, and yet it's sold remarkably poorly. Like I didn't even know they had games that sold this poorly. But here it is, you know?
60,000 units.
That's bad.
That may be the
For a
lowest
game that
I've
people
ever
love
seen.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So let me understand it. Is it a virtual escape room?
I don't know. I know it's a visual novel. And then we can make predictions, uneducated predictions about it based on that.
Did you play 999?
No.
Okay,
I heard
that's
that was
another
good too.
one. Yeah.
But it's from the same people, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like that same series.
The nonnery, whatever shit. Apparently it's really good, and I would not be opposed to playing it. I did play. I think what soured me on these style of games was Danganronpa. I tried playing the first one, and I thought it was such anime bullshit cringe that I stopped playing. But I'm hoping these are better than that if I were to play them.
Okay. I think there are other ways to play it nowadays. Yeah,
I think they came out on PC. Yeah.
the nonary games it's one of a series of 3. So there's a way.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, they're on Game Pass?
It was released on Game Pass in March 2022. So they may have taken it down, but
But it's on the Xbox ecosystem. Very cool.
Ah.
That's pretty neat. Good for them. Hopefully
Yeah.
it sold better over there.
Yeah, hopefully more people. Maybe that's how so many people have played it. Who knows?
That would be funny if all these like dude bros are playing it like in between bouts of Call of Duty. They're like, let's boot up some nonnery, bro.
Dude, did you get through the escape room? I used the knife to break open the electric box. No way.
That'd be sick.
Or like top 10 3DS games, number 5, Zero Escape. I played this on Game Pass, but I know it's the best on 3DS. I've tried the demo.
Nice.
Cool. Well, there you have it. That's a hell of a segment. Top 10 best-selling and least-selling 3DS games. Let us know what you think. Do you have more to add to the list? We'll find out. Comments below. You're welcome.